Well, hello. um, just before I toddle off back to work tomorrow, I have some rather intriguing news. Having given much thought to the situation with the trading licence money and why they were so desperate to obviously cover this up, I mean, they must have spent hundreds of thousands of pounds trying to cover this up when my mate only allegedly owes them about 10 grand. He doesn't because they can't charge, but you see what I'm saying. We came up with a theory because we knew there was something. We always knew there was something bigger than maybe 5 grand a year going in some council officer's pocket, or going in some slush fund or something, you know. And that's become more and more apparent as time has gone on with illegal police operations and illegally attempting to arrest me and trials and licensing panels and this and that and the other. Because they were just getting more and more and more desperate, as my last video about the police would have pointed out to you, when I was struggling not to fall off my chair because I was laughing so much. So I started doing some Googling. Now, I'd got halfway with this about 2 years ago, but we didn't really know what we were looking for. So at the time, it'd come to nothing. What's very interesting is that even Huntingdon District, and that's not Huntingdon Shire, that's Huntingdon District, that's a totally separate thing. That hadn't even come about, Huntingdon District, until I think it said 72, 73, when they gave a couple of bits back to, they were working on the old map when Huntingdonshire used to be back in the 1800s or something. And they got rid of a couple of bits to Peterborough, which isn't that far north of here, obviously. It's only about 10 miles north of here. So they cut those off and gave them to Peterborough, because it was sort of Huntingdon and Peterborough, then it was Huntingdon and Cambridgeshire, then it was Cambridgeshire, and we had Huntingdon District, but that wasn't a shire. I'm going to get so tongue-tied doing this video, I can tell. So that started in the, let's say, mid-70s, because like 73, certainly nothing would have really come about till 75. And in October 1984, sorry if this sounds like a history lesson, but I've got to lay down some local colour here, you know. In October 1984, the District Council of Huntingdon District formally changed the name of Huntingdon District to Huntingdon Shire. Now here's the kicker. John Major became MP of Huntingdon Shire in 1979. So work that one out. How could he become MP of a shire which didn't exist until 5 years later? So, I think we may have our answer, really, as to why the police and everything else have been involved, and Whitehall's been involved covering this up, and why is a media blackout? Because certainly from 79 to 84, every bit of taxation that Huntingdon District levied as Huntingdon Shire would be illegal. Therefore, they had no right to take money off people because it wasn't a shire. It was a district. And of course, they've loosely created this Huntingdon District, and they've then just changed the name. Which they're good at round here. They like doing things like that. Well, the government actually likes doing things like that, doesn't it? If something's not working, they just change the name. So I don't believe now, or do believe now, I don't believe for a second that Huntingdon Shire was ever formally, legally created as a council, because the council becomes a shire, if you follow me. But until 84, yes, we had Huntingdon District and we had a district council, but we had an MP, and to have an MP, you have to have a shire. And do bear in mind, of course, 1980 onwards was the rise of the town hall, which may explain a lot about the timing of this, because that's when loads of people were being sat around paid large amounts of money to do nothing except make shit up. So I think, Dave, and I know you're watching, mate, we've solved the mystery, haven't we, really? And I think you knew all about this, because you were piddling about in the days of Norman Lamont as a pretend would-be advisor, who knew nothing, obviously. Judging by the way the Tory government is gone. So, guys, check your own councils out, will you? See if this rings true with any of you. See if you go back 30 years and just look it up on Google and see how your area came about. Because I'd known previously that they'd started putting... Basically, the district council came about because there were so many small towns around this area, so they wanted a central point to collect the taxes, as it were. Rather than having 28 different council officers, they could have one, you see. However, I did not know that for a very long time, in fact 5 years after it should have been, it was not a shire, and therefore shouldn't have had an MP. So John Major's actually committed fraud. That's a shame, isn't it? No wonder he sold his house and moved out of town. So really, I suspect, certainly the whole local government around here is a sham. Well, I know the whole local government around here is a bloody sham. But really, I suspect this may stretch much further than they would wish to admit. And quite possibly this is what they've been covering up for the last 6 years, ever since I started asking questions. So, Dave, until you can prove to me that HDC is a legal entity, I shall not stop. I shall not waver. I shall fight you on the beaches. I shall fight you in the streets. And I shall fight you in the fields until I have you sent to jail. Because that's where you're going, mate, the way you're carrying on. Oh. Good God. Again, something's been sitting right in front of me, but of course, so busy. Like I said, I did try and make inroads into this a couple of years ago, but I just didn't know what I was looking for. And it was only today the question came up, when did John Major actually get into Parliament? And sort of what did he do before that? And I'll tell you what he did before that. He contested 2 seats, I think it was, in southwest London, Surrey way, and lost them both. So he was then shunted up here in 1979 for the Huntingdonshire seat. And consequently HDC became their pet council. Oh dear. So boys, now I've blown the lid off it, finally. I mean, that's the last missing link, to be honest. We know the Ministry of Justice are guilty of sin in covering up for bent bailiffs, and probably much more. And we know exactly who's involved in the police and the council. I'm just wondering what you're going to do now. So I'm going to get this out now in case I don't wake up in the morning, if you know what I mean. And thanks for watching this. Hopefully it won't be my last production. And I shall see you all later.